Andrew here from the Revisionist Almanac. All the voting polls for the eligible categories featured on the 1991 episode have officially closed, and it's time to reveal the winners who will be added to the Almanac. I want to first thank my guests Liz Arnold from Liz in a Movie and Scott Cole for featuring on the episode. Make sure you find and follow their podcasts on social media by using the handles in the description of this episode. Let's get on to the voting. We were able to unanimously agree with one of the Academy's picks that year, that being Jodie Foster in lead actress, so only 5 of the categories went to online votes, where you got to decide on the winners. Best Supporting Actress was a battle between 4 women. The actual Oscar winner, Mercedes Ruehl for The Fisher King, Judy Davis from Barton Fink, picked by Scott, Angela Lansbury for her voice work in Beauty and the Beast, picked by Liz, or Laurie Metcalf from JFK, picked by me. Both Ruehl and Davis struggled to get any online traction, with both finishing at 15.1% and tying for last place. Laurie Metcalf and Angela Lansbury went toe-to-toe until the very end, but when the polls closed, Metcalf scored 31.4% to Lansbury's 38.4%. The narrow victory for Angela Lansbury means she's now the very first voice acting performance to claim a revised acting win on the show in nearly 2 years. And I wouldn't expect this to be the last time we see it happen either. Lansbury joins Viola Davis from Fences, Dorothy Malone from Written on the Wind, Louise Beavers from Imitation of Life, Toni Collette from The Sixth Sense, Meryl Streep from The Devil Wears Prada, Piper Laurie from Carrie, Marissa Berenson from Barry Lyndon, and Marissa Tomei from In the Bedroom as Revised Supporting Actress category winners in Season 2. Moving over to Best Supporting Actor now, where we had 3 men competing for revised glory. The actual Oscar winner, Jack Palance from City Slickers. My pick, which was Lawrence Fishburne for Boys in the Hood, or you could have sided with Liz and Scott, who both played a bit of category manipulation, moving Sir Anthony Hopkins to the supporting category for The Silence of the Lambs. For a second straight category, the actual Oscar winner got vanquished early, as Palance just got a paltry 4.1% of the voting across all social media platforms. Lawrence Fishburne stayed close to Hopkins for most of the race, but he ended up being no match for the man who played Hannibal Lecter. Ironically enough, Fishburne was in the TV series adaptation of Hannibal a few years ago. Fishburne's final total was 41.8% to Hopkins, who landed 54.1%. So Anthony Hopkins enters the halls of the Almanac in the supporting actor category, along with Mahershala Ali from Moonlight, James Dean from Giant, William Powell from Manhattan Melodrama, Tom Cruise from Magnolia, Alan Arkin from Little Miss Sunshine, Burgess Meredith from Rocky, Robert Shaw from Jaws, and Joe Pantoliano from Memento this season. Up next was the Best Actress race, where we did not have to go to the online polls. Liz, Scott, and I were all unanimous in our belief that the Academy got it 100% spot on with who they gave the Oscar to. After bypassing any need for a vote, Jodie Foster is the 9th revised actress in this season, alongside Amy Adams for Arrival, Ingrid Bergman for Anastasia, Claudette Colbert for It Happened One Night, Hilary Swank for Boys Don't Cry, Ivana Baquero for Pan's Labyrinth, Faye Dunaway from Network, Louise Fletcher from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Naomi Watts from Mulholland Drive. Transitioning over to Best Actor, where we had 3 gentlemen who you could have thrown your support behind. The actual winner, Anthony Hopkins from The Silence of the Lambs, who I also felt was deserving in this category. You could have gone with Scott, who had John Turturro from Barton Fink, or you could have sided with Liz, who went with Robin Williams for the apparently polarizing film Hook. With Hopkins already winning the supporting category, the question was, would the voters throw their support and lead behind one of the 2 others, or would they let chaos reign supreme? Robin Williams ended up with 20.3% when the polls closed, John Turturro finished with 27.4%, and chaos indeed was the victor here, with Anthony Hopkins earning 60.4%, even more than he got in the supporting category vote. Hopkins now joins Casey Affleck from Manchester by the Sea, James Dean from Giant, Clark Gable from It Happened One Night, Edward Norton from Fight Club, Forrest Whitaker from The Last King of Scotland, Robert De Niro from Taxi Driver, Jack Nicholson from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Denzel Washington from Training Day in the lead category for Season 2. And yes, this is now the 3rd time on the show that an actor has found their way into both the lead and supporting categories due to some category manipulation and in each of those instances, they won both awards. The other two being Anne Bancroft for The Graduate in 1967 and James Dean for Giant in 1956. We are now up to Best Director. We had three massive directing choices to cast your vote towards. You could have gone with Jonathan Demme, who won that year for The Silence of the Lambs, also picked by Scott. You could have gone with Liz, who brought Steven Spielberg to the vote for his fourth time with Hook, or you could have elected to support Oliver Stone for JFK, my selection. And as I mentioned, this was the fourth time Spielberg found his way into a revised Best Director vote, with him winning in each of his previous three attempts. But he somewhat surprisingly ended up in third place here with just 15.3%. Oliver Stone had some loyal supporters for his work with JFK, myself included, but he was also well out of the competition at the end with just 28%. Jonathan Demme held on to his actual Oscar in dominated proceedings with 56.7% of your votes. This means Demme's win has him in company with Denis Villeneuve for Arrival, John Ford for The Searchers, Frank Capra for It Happened One Night, the Wachowskis for The Matrix, Martin Scorsese for both The Departed and Taxi Driver, Steven Spielberg for Jaws, and Peter Jackson for The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring in Season 2.
Hello, hello. My name is Jennifer Hahn.
And I'm Sarah Callan. And Movies and Us is a weekly gathering place filled with conversations about movies, stories, and connection.
Our name, Movies and Us, sums it up. We're all about movies and the powerful ways we can connect with each other and the world around us. This film podcast is all about us and our shared stories.
And so we invite you to join us in conversations about movies and the stories that connect us. So you can follow Movies and Us wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube at Movies and Us.
Now it's time to get to the big one, Best Picture. There were three iconic films you could have gone with in the voting process. The Oscar winner, The Silence of the Lambs, Beauty and the Beast, picked by Liz and Scott, or Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the movie that I felt was the best that year. Now, a number of people reached out to me during this category vote last week and stated this was far and away the hardest decision they've had to pick the best film of a year since the show started, with three legendary movies in the race. Even one voter told me they were inclined to just close their eyes and vote since making an actual decision was too excruciating. I was curious if Beauty and the Beast, a landmark animated film, could pull off a shock upset, especially after Lansbury's win, but that movie finished as the bronze medalist with just 13%. James Cameron's titanic action film Terminator 2 scored a silver medal and a runner-up finish with 28.2% of your votes, meaning the actual Best Picture winner, The Silence of the Lambs, comfortably kept its crown with a hefty 56.8%. With the win, The Silence of the Lambs claims the coveted revised Best Picture award and is the 9th winner of the category this season, next to 2016's La La Land, 1956's The Searchers, 1934's It Happened One Night, 1999's The Matrix, 2006's Children of Men, 1976's Network, 1975's Jaws, and 2001's The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. And this is also the final of three movies covered this season that won the Big Five at the Oscars. It Happened One Night won every single revised award for 1934. The Silence of the Lambs won every revised vote for 1991 here, but One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest only held on to two of its four wins for the categories covered on the show. I'm not exactly sure what that says about each of these three historic wins, but it was something worth sharing and letting you come to your own conclusions about. I want to thank everyone again that took part in the voting process, whatever social media platform you used. Just a reminder, you can find and follow the show on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, TikTok, and now Blue Sky at the handle Rev Almanac. This is where the voting will take place each and every month. The more places you follow the show, the more opportunity you have to vote for the actors, the directors, and the films you're passionate about. And as always, feel free to send me your feedback with a DM on any of the aforementioned social media platforms or email directly into the show at revisionistalmanac@yahoo.com. This will conclude the 1991 episode cycle, but on the way next is the 22nd episode covering the 1982 year in film, where I was joined by two returning guests, Tom and Dana Duncan from the Greatest Movie of All Time podcast. Did the three of us agree with the actual Oscar winners, such as Gandhi, Meryl Streep, and Ben Kingsley, or did we bring other nominees to the table? You're just going to have to tune into that episode and find out for yourself. Thanks as always for being here. I appreciate your time. I'm Andrew, and I can't wait to see you next time.